Just recently, we brought you the reviews of the all-new Tata Nexon petrol and diesel SUVs. And right here, we have the Nexon EV in its all-new avatar as well. And today, we will be driving this SUV and finding out what all has changed in this electric SUV that has the honor of commanding over 80% of electric four-wheeler market share in India. So let's get straight into it and see what is on offer in the Tata Nexon EV 2023. I know कि आप सोच रहे हैं कि इसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है. Just like before, Tata has launched the Nexon in an EV avatar as well as along with the petrol and diesel versions. But that is not the case entirely. By the end of this video, I will convince you that the Nexon EV is actually the original iteration of this all-new SUV, and the petrol and diesel are just here along for the ride. The enhanced design cues for the Nexon EV start from the front itself, and that I will demonstrate you by unlocking the vehicle right now, which triggers this signature LED pattern that you see, which looks really synthwave and trendy and modern retro as well. Something that has impressed me quite a lot. Then of course this is an EV, so it also gets different grille patterns here, which are very minimal and modern in terms of looks. Then of course here is the new vertically aligned LED headlamps for the Nexon range. Another exclusive bit to the Nexon EV is the design for the 16-inch alloy wheels, which are pretty aerodynamic and modern in terms of both design and their practicality. The tires as well on the Nexon EV, Tata tells us, have an ultra low rolling resistance, which is around, if I'm not wrong, 10%, and can add up to 2% in the EV's range. Then everything else is more or less business as usual as the cars that we saw last week, but you still get this center shoulder line, which is now finished in black. There is no teal blue. Teal blue is there, and that is for the .EV badging that you see down there on the front door. Coming to the rear of the Nexon EV, we see the all-new signature lighting here as well. Now this one also has its own signature lighting pattern that turns on and off when you open or close the SUV. At the rear bumper, you also see new elements, and the plastic cladding has been extended till the boot lid and offers extra protection in situations where you are dealing with a lot of mud or gravel. And the lower part of the rear bumper in the Nexon EV has also been redesigned and gets a pretty interesting pattern in terms of looks. Then of course you have the Nexon.EV badging and the rear parking camera here as well. The rear window of course gets a defogger. Then there is the rear spoiler and a shark fin antenna at the top of the roof. Now one major point of concern that always comes up when you are reviewing an EV is storage space. Now the Nexon EV always had a decent amount of storage space, and that has not changed. It still offers 382 liters of storage space, and as you can see, we have quite a bit of luggage here, a decent amount right now. Then you also see the 9th speaker, which is the JBL subwoofer, installed right here. The Nexon EV also offers a full-size spare wheel right within this boot as well. You also get tow hooks here that have a decent amount of load-bearing capacity, and then you have your parcel tray here as well. Now that was as quickly as I could have taken you through all the changes and exclusive design details on the Nexon EV when compared to the petrol and diesel versions. Now let's quickly sit inside the car and see what kind of a cabin experience is on offer in the EV version of this SUV this time. So viewers, here we are inside the all-new Tata Nexon EV. Now, as you can see here, Tata has completely revamped the interior theme and the packaging inside the Tata Nexon EV for the new generation vehicle. Now there are a number of key highlights for the 2023 Nexon EV's interiors, starting with this flat bottom steering wheel which has been finished in this dual tone leatherite material with blacked out stitching. But the special part is this illuminated logo in the center that you see up there, which is something that we have not seen in any other car made in our domestic market. Then of course you've got controls for changing your views for the digital screen up there, here, and also the cruise control functions here as well. Then you have your audio controls on the left side, and that introduces us to the 10.25-inch all-digital instrument cluster that is now available in the Nexon EV, just like what we have seen in the petrol and diesel Nexon that has just been launched last week. Then the difference here in terms of EV is that the graphics in the 10.25-inch screen up there are different and offer a host of different kind of information related to it being an EV. You also get navigation graphics right up there on the screen using wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay as well. Then here comes the 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen, which is special and exclusive to the Nexon EV this time. This unit is not offered in the petrol and diesel variants and is a pretty high definition unit, and as you can see right now I am running wireless Apple Play on this screen as well. I'll just show you the original UI of this setup, and this is what it looks like. It's got a green hue and very sharp and nice looking graphics. Then you also get arcade.ev and App Store in the Nexon EV this time, which opens up a lot of entertainment options such as your different music streaming applications and even movie streaming applications. Tata's intention is to offer you entertainment options for when you may be waiting for the car to get charged at a public charging station. Then of course you've got your media playback options, and here are the JBL modes section for the 9-speaker audio system that the Nexon EV now gets. Here you will see different settings for the audio and different presets as well, such as electronic music, cinematic experience, bass enhancer, and so on and so on. Then of course you also get your aircon UI here as well in the Tata Nexon EV. Now this UI is pretty simple to understand. It offers a host of information, your temperature controls on the right and your fan control on the left. The Tata Nexon EV of course also comes with ventilated seats with 3 different settings. Now controls for the ventilated seats are situated here on the left or right side of the seat depending on which one you are sitting on. In terms of other changes, you will notice that the dashboard is much more clean and looks more sophisticated than what was being offered earlier. However, the design is largely and fundamentally the same. However, there is the use of this patterned central plaque here, which looks really nice, and also a leather wrapped element here in the lower part of the dashboard as well. Another highlight of the Nexon EV's all new interior is this phygital console here that offers a host of functions that are all controlled by either your physical switches like this or your touch buttons, as you can see here. Now these offer controls for your EV charging point close and open, your hill hold control, car lock unlock, and even for the 360-degree camera right up here. And apart from that, there is a host of aircon related functions available here as well. Down below you get a 12-volt power socket, a USB-A point and a USB-C point that can offer 45 watts of power. The drive selector in the 2023 Nexon EV has also been updated and similar to what we have seen in the petrol and diesel option. Then you also get 3 driving modes here, which are City, Eco and Sport, and all 3 feel very distinctive from each other, which we will talk about more during our driving bit right after this bit. Then you also, of course, get electronic parking brake and auto hold function here as well. And apart from that, the whole interior has been finished in a tri-tone color scheme, which includes your silver finishes, your white leather, of course steel blue stitching, which signifies that this is the Nexon EV, and the rest of the hard black plastics here as well. There are also storage spaces here in the center of the console, and you also of course still get the wireless charger down here. Furthermore, the seats in the Nexon EV have also been updated for the new model with this grey and white leatherite, perforated leatherite of course because of the ventilation, and it also gets this silver aluminium element in the center, which looks really upmarket and increases the car's appeal. Then of course there is the teal blue stitching here as well. The JBL branding is down there for the 9-speaker audio system, and the Nexon EV still gets the sunroof, electronic sunroof, and which can, I'll just open up right now and show you. Well, we are shooting on a rainy day here near Lonavala, and that's how the sunroof operates on the Nexon EV. Now, the rear view mirror is also auto dimming, and that is a pretty neat and useful function that I think that every car should have. Of course, the Nexon EV also gets powered over VMs, which also support electronic open and close function. Let us know what you thought about the interior of the Nexon EV in the comment section below. Now let's start our drive of the Nexon EV and see what kind of a performance is on offer and if anything has changed from the earlier model. Okay, so now we have been driving the Nexon EV in Maharashtra around Pune, and we also went up till Lonavala, through the old Mumbai-Pune road, and even on the expressway. So we have a pretty good idea, I would say, by now that regarding how this EV feels out on the roads, even on the back roads. We even did some driving near some villages, so there were a bit of rough patches there as well. And of course, the Nexon EV is an SUV after all. So overall, what I would say that the all-new Nexon EV has grown in how it performs on the road. As a driver, it has become a bit more sophisticated than before. However, before we go ahead, let me point out an important part, which is that the Nexon EV Prime and the Nexon EV Max, as we used to know them, are no more on the list, because Tata has simply started calling the Nexon EV in two different classifications, which is the medium range and the long range. Right now, I am driving the long range, which has a 40.5 kilowatt hour battery pack, and the medium range has a 30 kilowatt hour battery pack as well. Coming back to the long range, which I am driving right now, this one offers a claimed range of 465 kilometers on a full charge, which is marginally higher than what we used to see on the EV Max before. And also, the motor in the new Nexon EV long range and both the medium range is also new. It is the Generation 2 motor, which is 20 kgs lighter and also has higher performance according to Tata, what they have told us. In terms of outright performance figures, the Nexon EV long range right now is giving me around 140 horsepower and 215 Newton meters of torque. Now that figure propels the long range Nexon EV from 0 to 100 kmph in just 8.9 seconds. And also, this EV now has an increased top speed of up to 150 kilometers per hour. Now we just went over a couple of ribbed patches on the road, and they were a very good test and also gave us very straightforward telltale signs of how well tuned for comfort the Nexon EV's suspension setup is. Then there is also the added center of gravity because of the battery pack that sits right under the floorboard of this EV. All of that combined, you have an SUV which handles pretty well, accelerates very sharply when you need it to, and also keeps all passengers very comfortable in across city conditions and highway conditions. Tata has also given the Nexon EV a brand new drive mode selector, which feels very nice and plush to hold and gets the job done pretty easily. Gone is the digital display rotary dial that we saw in the EV Max before, and that is not a very bad thing because that particular unit had a bit of lag and you had to wait for it to change modes, and that could be a little cumbersome when you are trying to get from drive to reverse very quickly or from reverse to drive very quickly. That is not the case anymore with the Nexon EV and can be counted as a plus point. Apart from that, the Nexon EV still gets 3 driving modes, which are Eco, City and Sport. All 3 driving modes are very different from each other and get more and more aggressive and sharp progressively. In Sport, the character of this EV completely changes and it lunges forward and is as eager as you would like it to be. In other highlighting news, the Nexon EV now also supports vehicle to load and vehicle to vehicle charging, which means that the Nexon EV is capable of charging another EV in distress or even powering appliances on your camping trips or other requirements. Something that Tata hopes will become a trend among EV users and will catch on very quickly. Coming back to this EV's characteristics, while the claimed range is 465 kilometers, funnily, when we sat in the car at 100% charge, it was showing a range of around 325 kilometers, which correlates with what the claimed range for the medium range Nexon EV is. Apart from that, the Nexon had always been a very comfortable driver even in city conditions and out on the highway. Right now, I feel that this car has seen some marginal improvements in the way it rides and the dynamics. NVH levels inside the Nexon EV are well controlled, however, there is some tire noise still creeping inside the cabin. Another important characteristic of this EV is the 3-level brake regeneration that we see in it. The earlier version had it as well, and this one has it too. However, quite peculiarly, there is no physical dial or buttons to control the brake regeneration. Instead, you have paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, which you operate to control the level of brake regen you need on your car while you are driving around. Then coming to the all-new flat-bottom steering wheel, which looks pretty classy and futuristic. Well, it is a very handy unit and you are able to grip the Leatherite pretty well. There are no complaints or anything that stands out in terms of the steering feel. However, we have been testing out the Nexon EV under pretty heavy rain conditions throughout the day today. So I have not really pushed the car to its limits and have not really noticed any noticeable amount of understeer or oversteer in the Nexon EV during normal highway conditions and even city riding. As expected, being an EV with a fairly good amount of power, it just surges ahead and is very easy to cut across traffic when the need arises. Seats are again pretty comfortable. They also offer ventilated function with 3 modes in the Nexon EV. And if I had to nitpick, then I would say that the front seats could do better with a bit extra under thigh support for tall drivers like myself. Now, while I have touched upon all the points, I would like to say that once you drive the Nexon EV, you would start feeling more and more with each passing minute that the Nexon is supposed to be an electric, looking at the entire redesign that Tata has given it now, and also the gizmos that you get inside the cabin. It all indicates to a very futuristic appeal that the Nexon EV in 2023 now has, and that works out pretty well because the power is there, the performance is there, It's pretty comfortable and it is very well appointed with all kinds of features that one would want. There is the all digital instrument cluster up front, then the 12.3 high definition infotainment screen in the middle as well. It even gets a 360-degree camera and 4 parking sensors both on the front and the back. So I would say that if you are in the market looking for a second car, then you should definitely take a look at the Nexon EV. If you are looking for a trendy SUV as your first vehicle, then go ahead and take a look at the petrol and diesel. However, if you are somebody who does not do very frequent highway drives or intercity travel, then the Nexon EV is definitely a top contender and deserves a place among top of your list. Coupled with the fact that the Nexon's top speed has now been increased to 150 kmph, I would say that the Nexon EV long range is a very good companion even for highway drives now. So that, my friends, was all about the new Nexon EV. The Nexon EV Max does not exist anymore, Prime is also not there. You only have the Nexon EV medium range and the long range. You also get a bit of increment in the claimed range figures and also a bit of increment in the power in the Nexon EV this time as well. Overall, the Nexon EV is definitely a looker, and is it the prettiest in terms of driving? Well, it was never, but the car is now more refined and stable as we saw during our driving part. Beyond that, the Nexon EV now offers a very up-to-date package both in terms of design and equipment. It gets all the bells and whistles such as ventilated seats, 360-degree camera, an electric sunroof and even a wireless charger. Now, while bookings for the new Nexon EV are open for a token amount of 21,000 rupees, the commercial launch and the price list of the new EVs will be only announced on 14 September. Till then, we have been given a pretty good idea of what all this new package offers in the Nexon EV. What Tata Motors has done by giving this major upgrade to the Nexon range is solidified its position as the four-wheeler electric market share leader. Because I am very sure that considering the kind of package that Tata Motors is offering in the new Nexon EV, the kind of upgrades it now gets, it will still keep on attracting a lot of first-time EV adopters. Let us know what you thought about the all-new Nexon EV in the comment section below. Like always, do remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more such content. Until next time, this is Amber Banerjee signing out.